Good morning, children. So, children, this is our last part of our video of chapter 13, that is Mahatma Gandhi and the Nationalist movement. Now, in our today class, we will discuss about the Quit India. So, the Cripps mission was a failed attempt in the late March 1942 by the British government to secure full Indian cooperation and support for their effort in the Second World War. Now, Mahatma Gandhi, he decided to launch his third major movement against the British rule. And this movement was the Quit India movement, which began in August 1942. Now, at the beginning of the movement, Gandhiji was put in jail. As the movement started, at the beginning only, Gandhiji was put in jail. As the Britishers, they knew that if Gandhiji would be present, then they will lose India from their hand. So the Britishers put Gandhiji in jail. And to protest for it, the younger activity, or we can say the youth activities, they have organized strike. That is, the youth, they have organized strike all over the country. Now, socialist member of the Congress named J.P. Narayan had actively participated in this movement. Quit India movement was called a mass movement. Do you know why? As because in this movement, lack of ordinary common Indian, including men, women, and youth, have participated in it. And youth were in large number in this movement. And the youth, they have left their college, they went behind the jail. Clear? Now, during that time, Jinnah and his colleague, they started to work in Muslim League. Why? So that they can expand their influence. Clear? Now, in June 1944, Gandhiji was released from prison and he tried to remove the gap between the Congress and the League. In 1945, a Labour government came to power in Britain. But before that, all party government was there. And out there, the king, or the, we can say, the prime minister was the head. And he was a great fan of imperialism. So, if they were the great fan of the imperialism, then they will not free India. That is, they do not want to free India, as because they are earning huge profit from it. Clear? But in 1945, when Labour government came, it was having concern with India, and they have committed to grant India freedom. Okay. Now, Lord Wavell, what he did is that he took initiative to bring Congress and League together for a series of talk, but he failed. And in 1946, cabinet mission came to India, and the cabinet mission plan was that its purpose was that there shall be Union of India that will be empowered to deal with the defense, foreign affair, and could communicate all members of the interim cabinet. Clear? And would be India. And minimum interference by the viceroy. Okay. But in 1946, cabinet mission came, but he also failed to sort out the problem and to bring Congress and League together and to make them agree for the federal system. But in 1946, Jinnah, what he did is that he called for a direct action day to praise the League demand for Pakistan, as they were demanding the separate nation. And on 16 August 1946, bloody riots broke out in Kolkata. Right now it is known as Kolkata, earlier it was Calcutta. Okay. Now, the violence of the riots spread to Bengal, Bihar, United Provinces, that is Uttar Pradesh and Punjab. So, during that riot, what would happen? Do you know? During that riot, there was loss of life of Hindu, Muslim, Sikh. They were being killed. Many Hindu, Muslim, Sikh, they were killed. Many innocent people died. So in February 1947, Lord Mountbatten came, the new viceroy. Now, what he did is that he finally declared that India and Pakistan is to be divided. That is, from India, the Muslim territory is going to be divided, and it will be named as Pakistan. Clear? So, the 3rd June 1947 plan was known as Mountbatten Plan. And according to this plan, all treaties, agreement between the British government and ruler of India, that is between the British government and the ruler of Indian state, will lapse. Clear? Secondly, they would be free to associate themselves in either of the domain, that is India or Pakistan, as a free. That is, India is to be free, but it will be divided into two parts. Clear? Now, let's see the last heroic day of Gandhiji. Okay. So, now we have got our independence on 15 August 1947, as you all know, right? And in the capital city, celebration of 15 August, that is Independence Day, was organized. But out there in the celebration, Gandhiji was not present. As on such auspicious day, he was not present. Where was he then? He was in Calcutta during that time. But he did not celebrate the day, nor he hoisted the national flag. And he went on fast for 24 hours. Clear? As we got freedom from the colonial rule after long struggle, but it was, we can say, at unacceptable price we got, as because many of them has lost their life. Clear? Nation was been divided between Hindu and Muslim, that is, nation was divided into two half, and bloody riots took between both sides. So, as many Hindu, Muslim, Sikh, they lost their life, many were wounded, and Gandhiji, what he did is that he went for a round in the hospital, in the refugee camp to visit them, that is, to visit these wounded people, to give assurance to the distressed people. Okay. Now Gandhiji, he had appealed to all Hindu, to all Muslim, and to all the Sikh people that to forget the past, and instead of remembering their suffering, what had happened, they should extend their right hand of fellowship, that is, to take step for bhaichara. Clear? So that they could live in peace and they would live happily. Now, the Congress party did not accept the two nation theory, that is, Hindu nation and the Muslim nation, as it was been made by the Muslim. And for this, Gandhiji, he also opposed it. Clear? That is, they want to have one nation where everyone should live unitedly, but it was Jinnah who want to have separate nation and Muslim to have its own identity. Now, it was being announced that India would be a democratic secular state where all citizens will enjoy equal rights and are equally entitled to the protection of the state irrespective of their religion to which they belong. Clear? Now, out here what we see is that some people, they have criticized Gandhiji. Why they have criticized Gandhiji? As because Gandhiji, he did not speak for the suffering of those Hindu and Sikh people. That is, when Gandhiji was giving his speech, he did not speak for a single word for those people, that is, for those Hindu and Sikh who were still living in Pakistan. And on 20th January 1948, there was an attack on Gandhiji, but he continuously does his work. So on 26th January, he spoke at his prayer meeting. That is, Gandhiji spoke at his prayer meeting. What he said out there is that though geographically and politically India is divided into two, at heart, that is, at our heart, we shall ever be friends and brothers, helping and respecting one another and be one for outside world. Clear? That is, we are geographically and politically, we have been divided into two halves, but we will be friends and brothers forever. That is, whenever we are in need or you are in need, we will always be there for your help. Clear? Other Indians were also there who did not like what the Gandhiji has said, or we can say what Gandhiji has speak out there. Other Indian people, they did not like that. So on 30th January, Gandhiji was shot dead by a young man. That is, a young man has shot Gandhiji on 30th January. And after that, that young man, he came forward and he surrendered himself. And that young man was a Brahmin. He belonged from Pune and his name was Nathuram Godse. Clear? Now tribute were being given by the whole world, and out there when tribute was being given to Gandhiji by the whole world, even during that time Albert Einstein also paid tribute to him. And in the Times magazine, which had once mocked Gandhiji, that is physically sized and seeming non-rational ideas, now what they have done is that in the magazine they started to compare his martyrdom to that of the Abraham Lincoln. Clear, children? Now, next we will move on to our topic, that is knowing Gandhiji. So let's know about Gandhiji. So out here our first topic is public voice and private script. So the most important source is the writing and the speech of Mahatma Gandhi and his contemporaries, including both his associates and his political advisory. So children, speech allow us to hear the public voice of an individual, while the private letter gives us a glimpse of his or her private thought. Okay, as many letters were being written to the individual and therefore they were personal also, but they were also written for the public. That is, the letter was written for the public and the letter was personal also, but the language of the letter is often shaped by the awareness that they may one day be published. That is, in the letter the private thought was not clearly written. Why? As because in future it will be published for that. Now Mahatma Gandhi, he had his journal named Harijan, where he published the letter written to him. And out there, Nehru, what he did is that he collected all those letters written by Mahatma Gandhi during national movement. And after collecting all the letters, he edited the collection and published the letter and given the name Bunch of Old Letter. Okay. Now next we will move on to framing a picture. Out here, we will get autobiography as a source, which was been written by D.J. Tendulkar. That is, he has written the autobiography of Mahatma Gandhi, which gives us the account of this past life. Clear? Now, Subhash Chandra Bose, while giving speech in radio when he was speaking in Singapore, he had given the title Father of the Nation to Mahatma Gandhi. And even Tagore, he has also given the title Mahatma to Gandhiji. So children, out here we get in the autobiography his life journey, the work he did, clear, which has led to frame the picture of Father of the Nation. Okay. Now, next we will see the true police eyes. Out here, another source what we get is the government record. Now the letter and the report that was been written by the policemen and other government officer were kept secret during that time. But right now we can get it as it has been assessed in the archives. Now the fortnight report that was been prepared by the Home Department. If you will see the fortnight report of the period of the Salt March, you will notice that Home Department was unwilling to accept the Mahatma Gandhi action. As Mahatma Gandhi, he has given advance letter to Viceroy for the march. They did not take it seriously during that time. The march, they think, or for them it seemed as a drama, an antic, desperate effort to mobilize people who were unwilling to raise their voice against the British and were busy with their daily schedule. That is, they were not willing to raise their voice against the British as because they were busy with their daily schedule and they were happy under the British Raj. They were thinking like that. Who were thinking? They were the Britishers. Okay. Now, last is our, that is the from newspaper. So, from newspaper, what we get? Now, newspaper were been published in the English as well as in the different Indian language, which tracked Mahatma Gandhi's movement and give us a report of his activity, and also it represent what ordinary Indian thought of him. Clear? That is, in the newspaper, all the activities, all the movement of the Mahatma Gandhi was been published in the English as well as in the different Indian language. Apart from that, with the activities and the movement of Gandhiji, with that, the what was the point of view or what was the thought of the ordinary Indian about Gandhiji was also been published. Clear? And they were published by the people who had their own political opinions and worldviews. And this idea shaped what was published and the way events were being reported. Clear? So, children, we have completed our chapter Mahatma Gandhi and the Nationalist Movement. I hope you have understood it. If still any problem, you could ask me, but must go through your textbook. Clear? Thank you.